Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at percent proportion. This is from section 0-6, so you can certainly use the book to add some more to your knowledge in this area. The one learning target today is I can use and apply the percent proportion to solve problems. So again, that's what we want to know by the end of this lesson and by the end of your work on this topic is that you can confidently use and apply the percent proportion to solve problems. Okay, the percent proportion says, and there are two key rules we're going over now. First, the percent proportion says part is to whole as percent is to 100. So you take the part and put that in the numerator and the whole thing on the bottom in the denominator, and that's going to equal the percent number compared to 100. And the second key thing is with proportions, the cross products are equal. If the cross products are not equal, then they're not going to be proportional. So if we look at this example here, we have 3 over 4 equals 9 over 12. And you may look at it and see right away that those are equivalent fractions, but the way we can make sure is to multiply the cross products and see if they in fact are equal. So if we take 3 times 12, and set that equal to 9 times 4. Again, cross products going top to bottom at an angle and then top to bottom at the other angle. And so 3 times 12 equals 9 times 4 is what we're saying, and then in fact 36 does equal 36. So those cross products are equal, so we would say that those are in fact proportional. Okay, so those are two key rules we really need to be able to solve these things, and let's look at one example. In this example, the question says, if 40 out of 70 students surveyed played soccer, what percentage of those students surveyed played soccer? So to use this percent proportion, we can just do it like this and say part of the whole. So part that we're looking at is 40, because 40 people in fact played soccer that were surveyed. The whole, or the entirety of the people surveyed, was 70. So 40 is to 70 is the part to the whole. Percent is what we're looking for, so we can just use the variable p, or we could use x or y or anything we wanted. I'll just use p since we're looking for percent, and then that's going to be over 100. So now this is setting it up as a percent proportion problem, and now we need to make sure that the cross products are equal, so we just go ahead and do that. So now, like we did in the other one, we're just going to say take the cross products. So we're going to take 40 times 100 and we're going to set then that equal to that's going to have to be equal to p times 70, or we could certainly say 70 times p as well. That won't make any difference. The order in multiplication doesn't, because they are commutative. So now if we take 40 times 100, that will give us 4,000. And that will then be equal to p times 70. So that won't change. Again, we could have it written as 70p. And normally in algebra, you'll see it written as 70p, but we'll say p times 70. Now to find p, we just divide 4,000 by 70. And what we're really doing that with that then is we're essentially dividing 4,000 by 70, and we can certainly write that as we're just dividing both sides by 70 is what we're really doing to get the variable alone. So if we do this, our whole goal with this, and this is something we'll learn as we go throughout the year, is when we're solving algebra problems, we're trying to get the variable isolated by itself, or get the variable alone is another way to think of it. So if we divide both sides by 70, notice how we have 70 in the numerator and 70 in the denominator on this side. Those will cancel each other out. and we're left with our variable p, and that's exactly what we wanted to get. So now what we really have to do is just divide 4,000 by 70 to find out what p is, and that will show us then that p is in fact equal to 57.14, and that's rounding it. That's not exact, but we'll round it to the nearest hundredth. That should be fine. So then our answer, then the percentage would be, it said what percentage of those students surveyed played soccer. We would say then, since our answer P was 57.14, then that means that our percentage of students that played soccer was 57.14. Okay, and that's how we would solve these percent proportion type problems. They'll give you any three of these parts, and knowing what three of them are, you can find out what the missing one is. So you won't always be solving for P. Sometimes you'll be solving for this component or this component, but that's how you set them up, and that's how you solve them. Hopefully this will help a little bit, and I look forward to seeing you in class soon, and thanks again very much for listening. Take care. Have a great day.